Vivi recalls a childhood memory in which she flew over Alabasta on Pell, who had been transformed by his devil fruit powers. She inquired why he trains all the time, and he said that it is to guard the land from any attacker. As the dream ends, Vivi resolves to show her father that Alabasta's hero is actually working to destroy it. Vivi gets out of bed to see Luffy and Usopp fishing with Karoo as bait, and she punishes them by beating their heads together. They pull up a mysterious Akama, who appears extremely grateful to be saved by pirates he does not know. The man admits that he cannot swim because he ate the main no mi, which allows him to alter himself into anyone he has touched the face of. He adds that he can also remember these faces, which allows him to take on the faces of those he touched before, showing several faces to the crew, one of which is Vivi's father Cobra, the king of Alabasta. The man then leaves as his crew arrives to pick him up, declaring the Straw Hats his friends despite not knowing them for long. His crew refers to him as Mr. Two-Bone Kure as he departs. Vivi believes that the man was one of Baroque Works operatives and that his being able to morph into her father is alarming. She reveals that Alabasta is in a drought and her father had been framed for using dance powder, which forces rain onto the region it is used on at the expense of places downwind for the capital. The head of Baroque Works is revealed to be Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, who is hailed a hero in Alabasta for saving the nation from pirates. In order to prove their identity should Mr. Two transform into any of them, the crew each draw an X on their wrists and covers it with a bandage, which they will take off to prove their identity. The crew reaches Yuba, a ghost town that had once been a prosperous oasis before sandstorms ravaged it, causing many of the people to join the rebellion. They discover an old man named Toto, who is the father of the rebellion's leader, Koza, a childhood friend of Vivi's. Elsewhere in the desert, Crocodile orders the officer agents of Baroque Works to guarantee the nation collapses into civil war and to prevent Vivi and Koza from meeting. The rebel army finds Nanohana destroyed, supposedly by the royal army. Toto gives Luffy some water he dug up as the sun rises. During their journey, Luffy declares his resignation, stating that even if the rebels disband, the threat would remain as long as Crocodile is alive. He adds that Vivi is naive to think that they can prevent everyone from dying in the battle, and he urges her to, rather than risk only her life, let them help her. Mr. Two, in the form of the king of Alabasta, orders Chaka and the other soldiers of the royal guard to destroy the rebels. After befriending a camel named Matsuj, they ride his moving crab friend, Hasami. Vivi thanks Luffy for helping her see the truth and promises him a feast after they save the kingdom. Crocodile quickly ambushes them, utilizing his Suna skills to reach and catch Vivi. Pell attacks Crocodile, and while he fails to harm him, manages to make him let go of Vivi. Crocodile's assistant, Miss All Sunday utilizes her powers to ground Pell, then uses Clutch to badly hurt him. Luffy intervenes, stretching out and throwing Vivi atop Hasami, staying behind to fight Crocodile. Crocodile uses his ability to turn into sand to render all of Luffy's attacks useless. He then attempts to drown Luffy in a quicksand pit he constructs, but Luffy manages to escape. Crocodile dries out Luffy's leg, and Luffy returns to normalcy by drinking the water Toto gave him earlier. Crocodile impales Luffy with his hook and leaves him for dead. Miss All Sunday wonders why persons beginning with the letter D in their name fight. Nami disrobes slightly, spurring Hasami to bolt towards the capital of Alabasta, Alyabarna. Baroque Works officer agents lie in wait, but the crew splits up as decoys for Vivi, allowing her to escape and try to stop the rebellion. Zoro fights Mr. 1, Nami fights Miss Doublefinger, Sanji fights Mr. 2, and Usopp and Chopper fight Mr. 4, Miss Merry Christmas, and Lasso. Vivi attempts to reason with the rebellion, but due to Baroque Works members who have infiltrated the royal guards firing on the rebels, Koza is unable to see or hear her. Vivi is nearly trampled by the rebel army, but Karoo protects her. Karoo runs the roadblock, only to collapse from his injuries and call the Super Spot Build Duck troops to assist Vivi. Usopp and Chopper are having trouble dealing with Mr. 4 and his exploding baseballs, and the officer agents inform them that Crocodile has killed Luffy. Despite being heavily wounded after being struck by Mr. 4's 4-ton bat, Usopp manages to trick Mr. 4 into hitting Miss Merry Christmas with his bat, then hits him with a hammer fired from a slingshot attached to Chopper's antlers. An exploding baseball detonates nearby, knocking the two out of the fight. Sanji is unable to attack Mr. 2 when he transforms into Nami, but manages to find a way to kick through Mr. 2's defenses without hitting him as Nami, defeating him. Miss Doublefinger is defeated by Nami's new weapon, the Cleam Attacked. Zoro is initially unable to hurt Mr. One, but suddenly realizes how to cut through steel and defeats him. Vivi attempts to stop the battle as she demands that Chaka and the soldiers destroy the palace. She guides Chaka to the middle of the kingdom, where they encounter Crocodile demanding the location of the weapon, Pluton, from the king, whom he has captured. Miss All Sunday, believing it is inscribed on the land's poneglyph hidden in the kingdom's sanctuary, leads the king to it. Chaka tries to stop Crocodile by transforming into a jackal using the Inu Inu no Mi model, jackal, but fails. Koza, having come to demand the king's submission, understands the truth and protects Vivi from Crocodile. Crocodile reveals that he plans on destroying the city by firing a bomb into the main square. He then attempts to drop Vivi off the roof of the palace, but Luffy, flying in on Pell's back, saves her. In the sanctuary, Miss All Sunday, Nico Robin, the only person able to translate the poneglyphs, discovers that the inscription is not what she is looking for. Crocodile arrives, and she lies that the poneglyph only holds history. Crocodile sees through her deception, knowing that if Cobra's kingdom did not contain the secret, he would not be as surprised to learn about Pluton. She reveals that she knew Crocodile would betray her and tries to splash him with water, but he avoids it by turning into sand and stabs her with his hook. Luffy then arrives, showing the viewer that she saved his life in the desert and manages to injure Crocodile by using his own blood to wet the sand. Crocodile, however, reveals a new trick, a poison hook, and injures Luffy with it. While Pell searches from the air, the crew attempts to retrace Crocodile's steps in search of the bomb. They find it in the clock tower, where it is guarded by Mr. Seven and Miss Father's Day, who fire Pell from the skies. As Luffy and Crocodile's battle continues under the collapsing sanctuary, the crew are left with less than 1 minute, and they work together to launch Vivi into the clock tower, where she easily defeats Mr. Seven and Miss Father's Day and cuts the fuse, only to discover it's a time bomb and cannot be disarmed. Despite being poisoned and still suffering from previous injuries, Luffy refuses to give up. While Crocodile considers him a naive rookie, Luffy is determined to defeat him and forces his hook into the ground, snapping it off. Pell, who is still alive, approaches Vivi and declares that it is his duty to protect Alabasta before transforming into a falcon and carrying the bomb high above Alubarna. The falcon statue at Alubarna's gate crumbles as he does so. Pell transports the bomb so that it explodes safely above Alubarna, seemingly dying in the process. While the threat to Alubarna has passed, Vivi is still unable to get both sides to stop fighting. Crocodile displays a knife blade in his hook and tries to attack Luffy, but he is knocked into the air by Luffy. Crocodile attempts to use Sable's Posada to murder Luffy, but Luffy avoids the attack while defending the wounded and helpless Miss All Sunday. Luffy sucks in air and twists his body to propel himself upward at high speed. Crocodile prepares to perform Desert Espada on him, but Luffy counters with a new technique, Gomu Gomu no Storm, which fires forth high-speed fists, hitting Crocodile through bedrock and hurling him through a tower. Crocodile flies through the sky and lands in the main square, defeated. Luffy collapses from his wounds and the poison, and Miss All Sunday gives Cobra an antidote for Luffy. Vivi shouts for the battle to cease with all her power as, for the first time in 3 years, it rains. Both sides stop fighting as the king shows the people the defeated Crocodile, who is responsible for the conflict. Luffy regains consciousness just in time to pull Cobra and Miss All Sunday from the tomb before it collapses. Cobra then brings Luffy to his crew, meeting them for the first time. The crew collapses from their injuries and takes refuge in the palace, while Vivi remains awake, watching the rain. Toto enjoys the long-awaited rain and hopes to reunite with Koza. Luffy awakens from his coma 3 days later, and Vivi returns his hat. Terracotta announces that the palace is holding a feast for the Straw Hats, and Wigglyf eats nearly everything he can get. Chaka then arrives, informing them that marine ships have come for the Straw Hats. Nami tells Vivi that she is welcome to accompany them, but that if she does, she must return to the shore by noon the next day. That night, Vivi wonders if she can truly continue her journey with the Straw Hats. Nico Robin, who is still alive, rests as she recalls how Luffy saved her from the collapsing kingdom despite her belief that she had nothing to live for, the second time she was saved from death by someone beginning with the letter D, the first being her best friend, Jaguar D. Sol. While she appears to be ready to give up, his words inspire her to persevere. As Vivi prepares for her speech to Alabasta, she informs Cobra, whom she now addresses as father rather than papa, that she has something important to say to him. The speech begins by describing Vivi's voyage, but the audience quickly understands that Terracotta is standing in for Vivi. Vivi instead proceeds to the shore, where the Straw Hats initially believe that she is not coming. She tells the Straw Hats that she can no longer travel with them, but asks if they will consider her a friend if they meet again. Luffy is about to say yes, but Nami tells him that her being associated with them will make her a criminal, and the crew says goodbye by showing her the marks on their arms, while Vivi does the same. During the credits, Alabasta is shown rebuild. Pell reunites with Vivi, and Vivi explains the mark to young children before reflecting on her friendship with the Straw Hats.